show. Choose your news on the Candy, Mike, and Todd Show.
It's a game where the stories are totally fascinating. The points only matter to us. And Todd participated on Thursday and Friday.
How'd it do?
So you technically lost 2 points. I think that's
No.
We're going to give you the headline.
Unfair.
You text your vote, Candy, Mike, or Todd, or something you like about the story to 98973. The more creative the message, the better. And you guys are getting really good at this. So all you have to do is text us something about the story that you may like. Whoever wins that story is the one we pick at 4:06. So, gentlemen, who wants to go first? Mike, I think it is up to you because technically you are in first place, correct? I believe you're at 5 right now.
I am at 5, but
Wait, we counted while I was gone?
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
Your story selection improved
It was
dramatically
real
in your
close.
absence, though.
It was really close.
Very good.
All right, so have you heard of, I think it's pronounced Gallaudet College?
Wow. We need a mic bot. You want to try that again?
So that is the famous U.S. School for the deaf.
Okay.
And that college, everyone doesn't realize this, was instrumental in building the space program. As important as Berkeley, as important as Caltech in the early part of the space program in the 1960s. And it turns out right now that the right stuff, which was the old way of getting to be an astronaut, may be the wrong stuff for space travel. And in a weightless environment, the disabled appear to have the upper hand on everyone else when it comes to future astronauts.
I like that. Okay, remember, Choose Your News, we have the winner, and then we have the so-called losers.
Yeah, losers are at the end. You want to hear the winner first.
Right.
That's the best part. But you want me to go next? Or you
Well,
go?
since you guys were counting in my stead and inventing stories for me, you may as well go first. You might even make one up for me.
All right, no.
Not that I'm bitter. I don't want to come across
My
as
story
bitter.
today for Choose Your News. Here we go. So, according to experts in Australia, they have tried to figure out what is the actual toll, as in number dollar figure, on online trolling. How much money does it cost Australia throughout an entire year? They tried to find some metrics to figure out this number. And once you hear what it is, it's pretty staggering. And the examples of trolling are all too common.
So let me ask you this. Did they also look at the revenue it generates?
Oh, no. Of course not.
No, just the downside. Okay.
Just the downside of trolling. That's my story.
Not familiar with the upside of trolling. All right, the opioid crisis is back in the news. There's a lawsuit we're going to talk about next hour. It's one now of 36 states that's suing a single family who are magnates in the pharmaceutical world. So you've got the pharmaceutical companies, and you've got some bad actors, some people who got into the system, bought opioids, and resold them. There's a third party that does not get not credit, but the blame that it deserves. And that third party is a government agency that developed a program where they really kind of pushed these opioids. Should they be getting more focus? Is there a reason that they're not being added to the lawsuit? That's my story submission. So if you want to hear my story, text Todd's story to 98973. If you want to hear Mike's story, which it does sound rather fascinating, text Mike's story or something creative to 98973. If you want to hear Candy's story, call in tomorrow.
Sure.
So
Yeah, you're doing it.
sometime around.
Hey, we gave
9
Todd
a.m.
Bot a chance on Thursday and Friday when you were
What
out.
did Todd Bot do? Now I'm
was
really
a kid.
curious. Did you guys meld something together?
He was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
You know what? I'm not going to tell you because you can't live up to that standard.
Whoa!
So I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to put that pressure on you. Not that you couldn't. I just don't want you to try.
All right. Well, it's not like
Make it
I just don't have the teleprompter you guys do. I have to do
Fine.
everything
All
live.
right, go ahead and text your vote to 98973, the Online Trading Academy text line. What story do you want to hear? You want to hear more about opioid abuse, the interesting cost of tolling out of Australia? They thought they figured that out. Or some interesting things about training for space travel.
In next hour, apparently Washington State, this can't be right. There's got to be a glitch in the system. Somehow we're the toughest state to pass a driving test. I don't know that I buy that. And I think, Candy, you took a tour of this trailer park. Or not a tour, but went and saw the neighborhood.
The Halcyon Trailer
Yeah,
Park?
I didn't mean to say you took a tour, because
Sure.
now people are going to be calling in and going, oh, that's the weirdo who was walking around, knocking
Sounds
on doors.
about right.
City Council is going to try to take action on this. We'll talk about that because this may be the last trailer park in Seattle. Last form of this sort of affordable housing. So all of that on the Candy, Mike, and Todd show. Tracy Taylor will go out and determine whether traffic is a winner or a loser or somewhere in between, because life sometimes is shades of gray. Don't you be binary in that thinking. Traffic is brought to you by Subaru Puyallup, your stress-free dealership.
It's not looking so promising for drivers right now. Westbound 512 as you get closer to the South Hill Mall. 2 cars, 1 semi, 2 left lanes blocked, and a huge lineup for those of you that are not only coming off of 167 starting from about 24th Street East, but that continues heading up towards the scene of this wreck and turn. It has now caused River Road to jam up quite a bit. So again, we're going to find some significant delays for those of you heading out towards the South Hill Mall on westbound 512. Eastbound drivers are definitely looking at it. There's no question. Surface streets are filling in, like Mercer from just after the parking garage getting up to the I-5 interchange. And of course, Denny is slow from not only leaving Pacific Science Center, but heading out towards Stewart Street. We are looking at some of the feeder streets to really fill in. We're going to talk a little bit more about that coming up here at 4:03. Traffic brought to you by Subaru Puyallup, your stress-free dealership. Subaru Puyallup, partner with Joy Drive. Buy your car online without ever going to the dealership. Get stress-free pricing and home delivery. Learn more at SubaruPuyallup.com. KIRO Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Tracy Taylor.
This is Dave Ross. Tuesday morning, zipper merging could become mandatory in Washington State. That's Chris's choke point. We'll also find out who's going to be held responsible for the opioid epidemic. And David Farenthold live from the Washington Post. Would President Trump really shut down the government again? Tuesday on Seattle's Morning News.
On KIRO Radio 97.3 FM.
News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
So if you've never had this struggle with weight loss, well, good for you. And if you have, then you might be familiar with this dynamic. I was gone for 4 days under some pretty stressful, although really meaningful conditions. And what that meant was I was away from the foods I know, and I had to make do with foods I didn't know. Have you faced that? You look at that and say, is this going to be the thing that kills my weight loss? Is this going to be the thing that triggers me into these bad behaviors? Look, I took about 85 pounds off of 30-10, weight loss for life, about 4 years ago. I didn't put any back on. And during this time away, I just used what I learned. And I came back and I weighed myself, not a single ounce that I gained, right? Part of the change in life is the change in your body chemistry, but part of it is how you view food and how you use it, not just enjoy it. Change your behavior and your body chemistry. Set an appointment with 3010 Weight Loss for Life now. Call them at 855-843-3010. They've got locations all around the Puget Sound. Call 3010 Weight Loss for Life, 855-843-3010.
If you tried selling your home and got no offers, it's time to go with the real estate broker I trust, Duran Weisbarth with Weisbarth & Associates.
I have a proven 5-step system to sell your home fast and for the most amount of money.
And you also have a guaranteed sales program.
That's right, Ursula. If your home doesn't sell for at least 100% of your asking price, I will pay you the difference.
Call Duran today at 206-414-5400. That's 206-414-5400 or weisbarth.com.
At BECU, we asked our members to share what they believe makes us truly different.
I feel like it's the camaraderie you feel. They've got your back.
Being a member of a credit union should be about the betterment of every member. They're living that.
It's like talking to my, neighbor.
They value what their members are saying, and they back their members up.
That's the power of people over profit. We're BECU, and we're all together different. Join us at your neighborhood location or online at becu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Thanks, Dr. Snip. Men have many great reasons to thank Doctors Wilson and White at the Vasectomy Clinic for their quick, easy, no needle, no scalpel procedure. Find out more at drsnip.com. The Vasectomy Clinic, drsnip.com.
Thank you, Dr. Snip.
Muckleshoot Bingo is the destination for Machine Go and 5 for 5 Mondays. That's right. On Monday, bingo sessions are just $5 with payouts up to $500. Plus, play 500 of the machines slot players love. 5 for 5 Mondays at Muckleshoot Bingo, the destination for Machine Go.
Cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, sleigh rides, and fun for your entire family await you at Sun Mountain Lodge near Winthrop. The Winter Wonderland Bed and Breakfast Package starts at just $218 per couple, including room, full breakfast, and gratuities. Valid dates and other exclusions apply. Make your reservations now at Sun Mountain Lodge. Perfect for weddings, groups, and meetings too. More details are at sunmountainlodge.com.
Seattle's Coffee King. For president?
He ran Starbucks. Now he wants to run the country.
I am seriously thinking of running for president.
Howard Schultz
says he would run as a centrist independent.
Our political system is broken.
Local voices on national stories.
This seems to me a complete ego-driven thing.
A politician with an ego?
Doesn't help when most of the people in your hometown still hate you for what you did to their basketball team.
KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest. KIRO FM, Tacoma, Seattle.
I wanted to make sure that we could get a really clean chowder.
This is Duke from Duke's Seafood and Chowder.
I did some research and found that most of the clams that go into chowder have this preservative. And finally, I found a company that had a clam where the ingredients on the package say clams. That's it. Nothing else. No salt, nothing. Not only did it have no chemicals and no preservatives, but the flavor was unbelievable.
Duke's Seafood and Chowder. Stop by for Duke's Happy Hour tonight.
Islanders in the Caribbean like to say that if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. Hi, I'm Rick Edelman, and that's great advice for the stock market, too. It's easy to get upset when the market falls, but what we have to remember is that this too shall pass. Now, that's easy to say, but sometimes it can feel hard to do. So in times like these, when stock prices are swinging wildly one day to the next, making you worry that your financial future might be at risk, here's the advice you need. Don't feel that you have to go it alone. I invite you to talk with one of my experienced financial planners at Edelman Financial Engines. Let's take a look at your investments and see if they're doing what you need and expect. We'll either reassure you that you're doing what you should be doing, or we'll give you recommendations to help you get the peace of mind you need so you can, well, wait for the sun to shine once again. Call us at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com.
At Farmers Insurance, the more you know, the better you can plan for what's ahead. Get smarter about your insurance at farmers.com.
KIRO Radio, 97.3 FM. Online at mynorthwest.com and streaming on the KIRO Radio app. KIRO FM, Tacoma, Seattle. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
The nation's midsection prepares for the polar vortex.
It gets this cold in northern Canada, the Yukon, parts of Siberia.
Federal employees go back to work.
It's not just morale, it really eats at your trust.
The Trump administration ups the pressure on Venezuela's Maduro.
Treasury took action against Venezuela's state-owned oil company.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition, presented by Capital One.
I'm Jim Shenevy. A mixed bag of bad weather for the nation this week. A dose of snow and ice for the Northeast and South, and some brutally cold conditions in the nation's midsection. Correspondent Dean Reynolds has more from Chicago.
Wind chills early Wednesday could fall to minus 55 here. For those keeping score at home, the average actual temperature on Mars is minus 80. Around the Midwest, flight cancellations mounted like drifts. Michigan's capital was shuttered. The University of Notre Dame will close tomorrow, as will public schools as far south as Georgia and Alabama.
I'm Jim Crisula. Rare winter storm warnings and advisories are posted across much of the Deep South. Places like Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, and Montgomery, Alabama, and Atlanta could see accumulating snow. State offices will be closed Tuesday in 30 counties in northern Georgia, including metro Atlanta.
Hundreds of thousands of federal employees returned to their jobs today after that 35-day shutdown. Bill Rakoff reports from Washington.
Estimates indicate that the 35-day partial shutdown of the federal government cost more than $6 billion, said a Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
In 3 weeks, we must pass additional appropriations to avoid another shutdown.
Now a conference committee of House and Senate members have to come up with a border security solution to stave off another shutdown, something acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney was asked if the president is still considering.
Yeah, I think he actually is.
Meanwhile, there's a human toll. Michelle Harris of the IRS says some of her coworkers have quit.
I know that it was more than people could handle, and they put in their notice.
Bill Rakoff, CBS News, Washington.
And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has officially invited the president to deliver his State of the Union address Tuesday night. The Trump administration turned up the heat on Venezuela's no longer recognized leader, Nicolas Maduro, by imposing sanctions on the country's main source of income, its state-owned oil company. Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin.
We continue to call on all of our allies and partners to join the United States in recognizing interim President Guaido and blocking Maduro from being able to access pay-to-visa funds.
Profits from Venezuela's Citgo service stations in the U.S. will be held in a special blocked account. At least 3 Houston police officers wounded in a gunfight with 3 suspects this afternoon. 1 suspect dead, 2 barricaded. On Wall Street, the Dow dropped 208 points. Now this.
Brought to you by the new Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% at grocery stores, and 1% on all other purchases. What's in your wallet?
It's like taking a
a pail of gasoline and throwing a lighted match into it.
The preventable disease that's spreading like wildfire in our state. That's coming up at first. KIRO Radio Real-Time Traffic with Tracy Taylor.
So I'm taking a look at the drive right now on some of the surface streets. I know this is a lot of fatigue for drivers, especially with the 2 weeks down and 1 week to go with the closure of the Alaskan Way Viaduct. Here's the deal. You got to line up on Mercer starting from a little bit better than the parking garage heading out towards the I-5 interchange. And, of course, Denny is quite busy between Pacific Science Center, actually a little bit better than that, heading out towards Stewart. Now, I am looking at a lineup on Boren. I'm also noticing that 5th and 2nd have really filled in. 2nd especially as we leave Lenora and it works its way all the way down to Jackson. If you are traveling on the surface streets right around T-Mobile Park, you're going to find 4th and 1st Avenue South to be pretty packed. I'm also looking at Airport Way South to fill in, and those of you that are on 15th Avenue South are going to find this to be a bit of a chore getting outside of Beacon Hill. Now, let's talk about the wreck that's happening right now on westbound 512 out near the South Hill Mall. Now, again, we're seeing some pretty ugly lineups for those of you leaving 24th Street East on the Valley Freeway, heading out towards the 410-512 interchange, but it looks like the crash is in the process, if not cleared already. DOT says, yep, it's cleared out of the way, so we're going to see some improvement. Not much, but some. Drivers heading in the opposite direction, heading eastbound, we'll find a little bit of hesitation there. Drive out of Lakewood starting to ramp up, especially over on the east side, too, if you're leaving Kirkland. More on that in about 10 minutes. Traffic brought to you by QFC. Love fresh, love local, love delivery. When you download the QFC delivery app, you can get groceries delivered right to your door the very same day. Love fresh, love food, love QFC delivery. KIRO Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Tracy Taylor.
Now, from the KIRO Radio Newsroom and streaming on the KIRO Radio app.
A reprieve today for low-income seniors fighting to protect their homes. KIRO Radio's Hannah Scott says the Seattle City Council just approved a moratorium on the redevelopment of mobile home parks.
The one-year emergency moratorium comes after weeks of emotional pleas from low-income seniors at Halcyon Mobile Home Park who feared they'd end up homeless after developers showed interest when it went up for sale. Ahead of today's vote, more pleas from the residents.
If Halcyon closes, that will stand as just another nail in the coffin for the Seattle area's middle class.
It's really precious to me, this home. Please protect it.
The council will now look for long-term solutions.
Health officials are investigating 2 more possible cases of measles in Washington state. That means there are 11 suspected and 36 confirmed cases. Dr. Alan Melnick tells KIRO 7 the virus can spread quickly.
It's like taking a pail of gasoline and throwing a lighted match into it.
Most of those who are sick are children in southwestern Washington who had not been vaccinated. There's been 1 adult case in the Seattle area. Deliberations have begun. It's now up to a jury to decide who's at fault and how much they'll pay for that deadly Ride the Ducks crash in Seattle in 2015. Dozens of people are suing not only Ride the Ducks, but the state and the city of Seattle for the crash on the Aurora Bridge that left 5 people dead and many more injured. All Sound Transit trains are now equipped with positive train control. That's technology that could have slowed down the Amtrak train that derailed a year ago. Senator Patty Murray.
Lives are at stake. It is very clear that positive train control saves lives, could have prevented the accident we had in Washington State. No one else wants to get a phone call or hear about a loved one on a train accident that could have been prevented.
3 people died when a train jumped the tracks on a bridge in DuPont, spilling train cars onto I-5 below. Bad news for anglers and orcas. This year's run of spring Chinook salmon, it's expected to be much lower than hoped. Only about 48,000 will likely make it to the mouth of the Snake River. Wildlife officials tell the News Tribune that would leave only about 2,000 Chinook to be split between tribal and sports fishers. And now your forecast.
Sunshine around for the drive home or wherever you're heading this afternoon with clear skies. It looks nice. Temps in the low 50s. Still kind of breezy. Tomorrow, same plan, but more clouds for Wednesday. I'm KIRO 7 Pinpoint meteorologist Nick Allard.
It's 50 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
From Bothell to Ballard, this is KIRO Radio 97.3 FM.
News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
This is the Candy, Mike, and Todd Show on KIRO Radio 97.3 FM.
So you get to ask yourself, am I amongst the winners or am I amongst the not winners? Because we do Choose Your News. You take control of the show. We're going to announce the winner in just a second coming up in the show. Once again, they're going to debate motorcycles zipping between lanes. Remember, that could be Mike Lewis. So if he's riding along, you want an autograph, put a hand out gently. Don't stop him. Don't stop him. No, don't stop. I said gently. And just ask, right? Mike can stop and sign an autograph. If you're not a fan of Mike's, well, just let him go his way. Don't bug him. Right? We'll talk about that. Plus, Washington State, one of the hardest places to pass a driver's license test. Not buying it. Sorry, call me a cynic. Candy, can you now reach into the envelope sealed by the prestigious accounting firm of what's it called and talk about the winner of Choose Your News?
Did everyone agree with you? Let's find out. Choose Your News on the Candy, Mike, and Todd Show.
Mike stands at 5, Todd at 4. I am at 1. The score is about to change. Choose Your News, the game where the stories are totally fascinating. The points only matter to us in the studio. And guess what? Todd is more competitive than the rest of us. That's what we've learned. From the 206, a Candy story. I need to know how much I'm costing these people. I mean, trolls. How much money trolls are costing us. That's from JJ and Burien. Thank you for listening, JJ. From the 425, I picked Todd's story. Even though I haven't heard it, I'm fighting for the underdog. Mathematically, that's not correct, but I appreciate you, the 425. From the 206, Mikey! He's been killing it lately. And can he please sign his entire story? Doesn't quite make a lot of sense, really.
Well, I mentioned a college for the deaf. That's why.
Think about it. All right.
Sign
it. Sign language.
Sign it.
No, I can't tell if they were trolling
sign
you
language
or voting for you.
doesn't work quite as well on the radio, but I can give it a go.
No, we got the video going on because for some reason we videoed this circumstance.
That's still
ASL.
good. And the winner is Todd.
So what has gone last week? You guys kept score. I find that interesting. Really? This is not old yet? It's not old, the smattering of applause thing. This just never gets old. So I was gone last week. You guys continue to keep score. There's an asterisk forever in the record books. Is it 5:30? 5:30, we're going to dig into this. There is Snohomish has a brand new spanking lawsuit against Purdue Pharmaceutical. They want cash money because they say the family that runs Purdue is the same thing as Purdue and help precipitate the opioid crisis. And it's a danging indictment. It stings. The DEA, they said they knew the pills are being used illegally, so we'll get into that. Harriet Ryan from the LA Times broke the story about the Los Angeles Everett OxyContin pipeline, or Los Angeles to Everett, funneled over 1 million of the strongest pills, 80s to our area.
They were getting their hands on ultimately 1.1 million 80s, and they were wholesalers. And they sold to different gangs and drug dealers. And one of the gangs that they sold to was a branch of the Crips, the LA gang, the Crips. And people that were buying drugs from this phony clinic trafficked many pills to Everett, to a drug dealer in Everett named Javon Lawson. And then Lawson sold those pills from L.A. to drug dealers in Everett, who sold them to people in parking lots and car washes and all around town. And Everett has a huge problem now with heroin, previously with OxyContin, and many of those pills originated in L.A.
So you have the gangs, you have the family that ran Purdue Pharmaceutical. I want to make clear that they're being alleged to have done these things. It's not been proven. But there's a party that tends to escape focus. A couple of studies, one from the CDC, revealed that Medicaid patients, 40% of Medicaid patients with opioid prescriptions abuse the painkillers. And according to the same CDC study, almost half of prescription drug overdose deaths are from people on Medicaid. I want to be very clear. I've got family who works for government medicine organizations, and there's a lot of people on the front lines, and I know, I get it. You're doing your job, and you're trying to keep your head down and get things done the right way. But the fact is, with Medicaid also, nearly 1 in 4 Medicaid patients overprescribed opioids in 2015, or 1 in 4 prescribed opioids in 2015. You have a breeding ground for people who want to commit fraud. The CDC also found that opioid prescribing rates amongst Medicaid enrollees are at least twofold higher than the rates of persons with private insurance. Medicaid was one of the first organizations to sign on to pain as the 5th vital sign, which is like your breathing, your heart rate, and brain activity. So there's no surprise to me. These things have become overprescribed and abused. But this could change. But it can't as long as you keep the focus on size. And Medicaid is huge. At one point, a study showed that 10% of Medicaid's budget came out of fraud. So while we're going after Purdue Pharmaceutical, and from what I read, I applaud it. Go after these people. They did the wrong thing. Can we also go after Medicaid? I know it's hard for the government to sue the government, but if we're going to clean house, how about if we clean house? That's my submission. Common sense.
if it's possible, what do you want? You want an investigation?
I want a change in the structure of Medicaid. I want a change in the culture of Medicaid. I want skin in the game for Medicaid executives. In other arenas, if 10% of your budget is ending up in fraud, you end up fired. I want a
There's
review
some sort
of
of
that.
audit.
Yeah, I want an audit, and I want skin in the game, functional skin in the game from the so-called Medicaid executives. That's what I'd like to see. We'll get into this further at 5:30. It's a fascinating story with this local angle and the gang tying to that. We come back. There's apparently two mobile home parks left in all of Seattle. Seattle City Council did something, clickbait, about that. So we'll get back into that. It is the Candy, Mike, and Todd show. Tracy Taylor will determine whether the traffic will get you home at night or get you home with a headache. You like that? Isn't that a cheesy, cheesy?
Yeah,
No, that's like a cheesy, cheesy old-time 80s TV throw.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, Candy. Thank you.
I leave, and I come back to this smattering of applauses. I get it.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Tracy.
Okay. We are looking